My name is Joanne MacDonald, and it's really great to be here and at least to see one of the leaders here for the leaders' debate. I feel sad in one respect because having been in this business for a very long time, this discussion, these issues, these suggestions, 30 years ago we were having the same discussion. It was housing, it was transportation, it was employment, it was home support. Sure, we've made some progress, but I don't think we're making the progress that's really needed. I think there's a lot of frustration in this community with the disparity that takes place between systems, policies, procedures. One group may be treated differently than another. There's a lot of disparity right across this country, and I think a lot of frustration building. So my question to you is, I guess, one of the movements that's happening right now is a move to create a Canadians with Disabilities Act.
Nice.
Personally, I'm on the fence with that. I'm not sure which way I will go, but I certainly understand the need for it because so many things are not working. From what I'm hearing from all members here, it sounds like people understand, have solutions, action is not taking place, and maybe that's one of the things that is pushing the notion of the Canadians with Disabilities Act. We have a lot of things in place. We have the human rights. We have the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. We have lots of policies and procedures. So why aren't they working? Why do we need a Canadians with Disabilities Act? But that's the movement. Well, I guess my question to you then is this something that you would look at doing? Is this something that you would look at supporting if, I guess, Newfoundland were to participate or to be supportive? Is this something that the government would look at moving forward with? Or, I guess, for me, would there be a commitment to ensure that what you speak about, the policies, procedures, systems, the challenges, that you could actually move those forward? Because I think if we move forward with the Canadians with Disabilities Act, it's going to take a very long time for us to get there. We have the mechanisms here right now, so why aren't they working?
Thank you. The order this time is Earl McCurdy, then Paul Lane, and Todd Watkins.
Thank you, thanks for the question. The simple answer to the question on the Canadians with Canada Disabilities Act is yes, but I think you do point out a significant problem with that, in that it would be a time-consuming piece of business, and I don't think we can say, well, we'll support that, and then sit back and wait several years, which is probably what it would take for that to fall in place. But instead, would say, while that is underway, we will separately address and tackle, the various particular problems that, as you say, have been around for a long time. I think really what we need, is important to have dialogue. It's important to say to have a kind of a strategy or an overall idea or to have principles in mind. But what we really need is an action plan. And I think the piece that's needed here, our party hasn't yet had a chance to govern. We hope to. That's why we're running in this election, and we'll keep working at that. But it's I guess a matter of respect for the people and for putting the people first and saying, I mean, I've visited a lot of homes, and I came away saying this is not acceptable in 2015 to have people in our society living in those conditions. So I think there has to be determination to address it, and I think it would work on two fronts. Number one, to support the idea of national legislation, but at the same time, don't let that be an excuse from dealing with the problems in our own backyard.
Thank you. Paul Lane?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. First of all, I would say that I believe that a National Disabilities Act is important and is something that should happen. It's certainly something that we will be pushing for with our federal counterparts. But in the absence of that, and until it gets done, our party is committing that we will we'll be working on a Disabilities Act for Newfoundland and Labrador if elected. So I want to make that point here tonight. I was going to make it earlier, and I didn't know when to get it in there, but I'll put it in there now. We will be working on a Disabilities Act for Newfoundland and Labrador. But to your point, the fact that we would need it in this day and age is disappointing for sure. You know, there's a lot of things that need to be done to change attitudes. Certainly, you know, promotion and awareness is part of it, but we also need a government that's going to lead. You know, it's going to show leadership, whether it be through supportive employment initiatives, whether it be ensuring that our own government facilities, our own healthcare facilities, our own schools and so on are accessible. You know, we have accessible parking, we have access to the buildings, we have disability plans, and we ensure that we are providing inclusive services, inclusive education and so on. Government needs to lead by example. And it's said that we even had to be talking about these things. This day and age, it should already be there. But like I said, in the absence of that, we will be enacting our own Disabilities Act for this province. And I have the full confidence of our leader, Dwight Ball, to tell you that here tonight.
Thank you. Clyde Jackman?
All right. You know, to Earl's point, well, this is an action plan that was developed through government jointly with input from the disability community. You know, the larger Canadian, where it's going to go on the Canadian scale, would we support? Certainly would. Would we push to do things to move along? Certainly we would. But I think what we need to do, as I said right from the outset, that we now need a comprehensive review of our own. There's a lot to be said in a name. There's a lot to be said in a name. Now, I know, you know, Paul used the Disabilities Act, and when it comes down, if they should be in power, or we're in power, or Earl's in power, I'm sure there will be much debate about the name. Because the name right now, building accessibility, that'll tell you, that is foreign, outdated, everything else. So what name we come up with once we start to move into that debate will be seen. You know, one of the things that I realized in this role in the last 10 or 11 years, I look at things that we've done. The Disabilities Policy Office we put in 2009. We've got accessible grants for accessibilities to buildings. There's been some 60 or 70 groups that have taken that. There's 69 or 70 people who have had their vehicles retrofitted. So we've put money into the programming. But the one thing that I realized that I've said and I've discussed with Minister Crummell, with my cabinet colleagues and the Premier, is that there was one component that was missing. And moving to a comprehensive review, moving to strong legislation is the piece that I think is missing, and it needs to be done. So, you know, I said I'm retiring on November 30th, but I can tell you that's good. That is going to be part of the platform, and that's something that I will continue to push, and you'll see it in our layout.